Orion isn't a Giga. That's the dumbest thing I've heard an enthusiast say. Well, not really, but it's dumb enough for me to make a video about it. Orion is a Giga, period. Yes, it doesn't have a structure over 300 feet, but it kind of does when you think about it, because the first drop comes down 300 feet of track, making it a Giga. And don't say it's not a Giga because it has a hyper layout or whatever, because then what about Red Force, huh? Or going even taller, Caw and Top Thrill 2. Are those coasters, and were they, not really stratas because they only have a top hat, maybe an airtime hill, or a spike? No, they are still over 400 feet tall. Also, people never talked about this, but Caw never had a drop anywhere near 456 feet. That was actually just the structure height. I can name a few coasters that aren't 200 feet tall, but have a 200 foot drop, or they have a structure of 200, but they don't have a drop of 200. Some being Apollo's Chariot at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Goliath at Six Flags Orion, Goliath at Six Flags over Georgia, and one of the best examples is a super well-known coaster, Magnum XL 200, the coaster known for being the first hyper in the entire world. That doesn't even have a 200 foot tall drop. But guess what? Even with that all being said, they are still all hypers. 200 plus feet is all that matters. It's the only important stat, whether it's a drop or it's a lift hill height. Also, another thing, I never believed these statistics before I checked myself, but 85% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you could subscribe, that would help me greatly. Thanks. Also, follow me on Insta. Let's look at the soon-to-be world's tallest, longest, and fastest roller coaster, Falcon's Flight. This coaster never has a drop of 600 plus feet, but it has an elevation change of 639 feet, so the coaster climbs those 600 feet. Does this mean the coaster isn't an EXA or whatever it's called? No, it is still the first roller coaster to climb over 600 feet of elevation while going 150 plus miles an hour. And how tall is Siren's Curse really? The top of the tilt track in the back row, or the height of the first lift? It doesn't have an answer, because no matter where you're sitting on the train, you will be at a different height. If you're at the front of the train, you won't be at the structure of the lift hill. If you're in the back, you'll be way above it. But let's say there's a tilt coaster that is built to be 170 feet in the air, but then in the back row, you would be 200 plus feet in the air. So would you have ridden a hyper, or no? Because only the back few rows would have gotten that 200 plus feet. And then let's look at it from a speed example here. Is it a hyper because it goes 80 miles an hour? No, it's not, because then we would call max force a hyper. A soon-to-be opened roller coaster, Tormenta Raging Run. Guess what, guys? We're in the exact opposite situation of Orion here. This is the power of having new enthusiasts not growing up with these coasters, and I'm one of them too. They just didn't see all the hypers being built over the years that didn't have one stat being 200. It was 200 and then 170, or it was 200, 195. It wasn't 200, 200. But it's as simple as, if Tormenta isn't a hyper, a Giga, then Magnum isn't a hyper. Simple as that. 309 feet tall. That's the 6th tallest roller coaster in the world. It also has the 7th largest drop on any coaster. Another thing is that parks advertise these coasters as Gigas, hypers, or whatever special height it passes. So that alone could be a deal breaker. But if Six Flags opened Top Thrill 2 and the spike was 500 feet tall and you only climbed about 360, of course then, it would not be a Strata. Is that 400? I think so. But that wouldn't be a record breaker. That's the difference between a full circuit and not. Top Thrill 2 still climbs higher than the spike, so there's no argument for it there. So if a park and the manufacturer both call it a Giga, then it should be, in general, called a Giga. But why is it that people are only drilling down on Orion? I don't understand that. It's still a great coaster, one of my top 25, above a few fan favorites, and it's honestly just great. It has the effect of, being the newest Giga from B&M, and people want to complain about that, I guess. And then so Intamin builds a 305 foot tall roller coaster, and without question, it's a Giga. Like, of course, it is a Giga. But B&M builds a 300 foot tall drop, and that's not. Or a 309 foot tall dive, and that's not. That's a 5 foot difference or a 9 foot difference. I don't understand it. It's over the mark of 300 or at 300 in both cases. Guess what, everyone? You're all arguing about classifications when what really matters is the feet. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and even 600 now. Not Mega, Hyper, Giga, and technically, do we even have one for 500 yet? I don't think we do. But we do for 600. Exa. Thanks for watching this rant about how tall roller coasters are and their drops. If you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Insta. Peace.